I don't know how to do that.
Do you want to make me co-host and I'll see if I can?
Where do you normally find that? And why would we do that? Because we haven't announced it.
No, it's more like a surprise. So it actually offers more people to join that maybe we're intending to.
Oh, okay.
Get a chance to sign up, or it also lets those that are just scrolling through to see what we're up to, and if they like the conversation, they can listen in, and then we can let them know that they can join next time, and then they might be more likely to attend.
Okay. How do I make you co-host?
I think if you go to participants and then click on my name where it says more.
Oh, who knew this was here? See?
I'm learning so much.
I know.
D&I master.
Now, do I have to say make host, not co-host, right? I don't have a co-host option.
Okay. Go ahead and make host. You should still be able to record. Yeah, it'll go to the cloud.
Yeah, and I'm recording it right now, so I don't have to think about it.
Okay, so I'll see if I can find.
So Julie,
Yeah.
how long were you thinking, like, would we like speak for like 7 or 8 minutes each when we do our part? What were your thoughts on that?
No, well, I think we should just speak until we feel like we're done.
Oh, okay. Got it. All right.
It's a challenge for you, I know. I'm sorry.
No, it's okay. I can, you know what? I've got my little analogy that we kind of worked out before, and I'm going to kind of explore that analogy and then kind of end up kind of helping to dovetail into hopefully what you guys are going to be speaking about. So I've thought about this.
Yeah, and I'm going to tie things together towards, after we're all done anyway. So part of my talk will be, so what you heard from Kevin is, and what you heard from Summer is, and how we're all the same is, and how we're different is, right? And it's pretty generic. Like, you work with the physical body, and Summer works with spiritual and emotional, and I work with the innate well-being part of it. Not finding it, right?
I'm just learning a lot. I'm a button clicker. I've learned not to be afraid of clicking buttons.
Yeah.
It's interesting because I did it recently with somebody else, and now I'm just having to remember everything I forgot.
It's like the first time I go someplace, if I get lost, then forevermore after that, I have to go the lost way.
Oh, funny.
I know. My computer guy is going to teach me how to put Zoom things onto YouTube, which then allows them to be put on a website.
Yeah.
You can't just do it straight. Zoom codes it some way where you have to do some configuration of some sort.
Oh, fascinating. That's good to know.
Yeah. He said nobody had asked him that yet. And I said, oh, well, just wait. He said, yeah, I'm sure I'm going to get flooded with this. So it's going to be good research.
Yeah, right. Interesting. I wonder if. So we're just kind of waiting for everybody to show up right now?
Yep.
Okay.
Say Scott's working till right up till 2 o'clock, and he's on the call. He's just muted and no video.
Yeah.
Kevin, you look tired.
Oh no, I'm just like really focused on making sure that my, since I'm kind of going first, I really want to set the scene properly for you two.
Oh,
So I'm
okay.
kind of going over what I'm going to say, and I want
Okay.
it to be, I know like some of it's just going to come out, but I do want it to be have a point,
Okay. Good.
So
I appreciate that. I appreciate intent.
yeah. No, I mean, I really value being able to do this with you two. So I don't want to. Well, it's just the four of us. I don't want to fuck this up. So.
I have an invitation for you.
Yeah.
Don't take it so seriously.
Okay.
Because it's our first time.
Yeah. All right. Well, you know me. I like to.
I know.
I
That's
like to
why
come
I'm
out of the
inviting you
blocks
to
on
let go of
this.
that. Yeah.
Well, you are. That's so nice of you.
And
See how easy it is for me?
well, plus, if you consider that when we come from a place of love, which I know you do,
Yeah.
that will be felt before the words are heard.
Yeah, exactly.
And
Okay.
so what we say is just gobbledygook. It's the Peanuts parents.
Yeah, that's true.
Because how we're going to be is going to happen first.
Okay.
And so my invitation is just to be Kevin.
Yeah, all right. That's good.
And Kevin cares and loves so deeply, so much so that he could get all excited about it. But I just invite you to let that go and just be you.
Okay. Good invitation. I'm like, we have an invitation for something? Are we going somewhere? We get to get out of the house?
Yeah.
Are we going to someone's house for a party?
Thank you. Yay.
Mine's Buddha. Whoops, there he is.
All I've got is this bad boy.
Oh,
I like that. I like that Buddha, Nancy. That's a nice Buddha.
Nice
mine
Buddha.
says, happy thoughts turn sprinkles to sparkles.
Oh, how fun.
I also have my rainbow unicorn.
Huh.
Oh,
This
look
was
at
my
that.
Mother's Day gift when we were at the
That's-
grocery store. Kat said, we could get you flowers. I said, yeah. She said, what about these? I said, so more craziness around my desk.
My gardenia that
And my
you
Mardi Gras beads.
my gardenia that you guys sent me does not like the hot weather.
Oh.
I know. I pulled 50 little leaves off of her today that were yellow.
Oh.
And I was talking to her saying, just hang in there. It'll cool off tomorrow.
I know, right? Although it is just the beginning.
I know. She has to get used to where she lives, and she may not. That's the way those things go sometimes.
Yeah.
Kind of up to her at this point.
What did I just say?
All right. Shall I take back the host thing?
Go for it.
Okay. You didn't figure it out, right? Yeah, we'd have to Google it.
I'll just ask one of my coaches who helped me do it really quick. So.
Okay. Oh, you can launch the meeting. Who knew?
Hi, Veronica.
Hi. Hi, Summer.
Hi, sweetie. Happy to see you.
Happy to see you too. Shh. My dogs are barking. I'm gonna mute.
Okay.
Oh, that'll get mine going.
Hi, Scott.
Hey.
Hi, Scott. Hi, Susie.
Hi, Susie. All right, we're just letting everybody else join us while we get started.
Technology takes a while for people.
A little bit, it can.
Yeah. We'll all get used to this pretty quickly, but we're not quite at the habit of thought yet. So we're missing Nima and Christine.
Okay.
And Tim, my own Tim.
Is he gonna hop on a different computer?
Yeah, he's having trouble with his computers, and so we'll see if he actually makes it on.
You can hop on with your phone, maybe.
Yeah. I'll go pop over there and see what he's doing.
All righty. Sounds like fun.
Are you getting on?
So Veronica, I just wanted to introduce you to Kevin. This is my awesome chiropractor friend. I was inviting you to meet. He's a superstar.
Yeah, we talked on the phone. I just haven't gotten to call the office.
Yeah, no worries.
Hi, Kevin.
Hi, Veronica. Nice to see your picture.
Yeah, I'm sorry. If I put the image, then
Yeah.
it freezes the image, and then I miss half of the.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. All right.
We're all finding out how not resilient some of our Wi-Fi is. I had to get those little pod things that they're like
Boosters.
boosters. That's exactly right.
Yeah.
Right. Send things
All
around the
right.
wall and stuff.
Yeah.
And if I put the fan in front of that, then it knocks everything off. If I put it behind it, then everything's fine.
Wow.
Yeah.
So the fan blows the whole Wi-Fi around the house for you?
I guess so. I don't know. Or it blocks the transmission of it. Oh yeah, that's right. It would be go. So it's all fractured or something.
Yeah.
Well, Susie, I was going to say, I like the wood beams in your house, but now it's a picture of you like what appears to be like the Swiss Alps or something. So I'm going to assume that you, that is a really pretty picture. I'd like to know where that is.
Really pretty.
Some snow-capped mountains behind you there.
She's on mute.
Mm-hmm.
Should we give it another minute and then we'll start?
Yeah, sure. Sure. No
We can do
hurry.
that. I'm gonna go grab my phone so I can time myself when it comes to the little 3-minute moment I have.
Okay.
Thanks, Scott. I think Julie's recording now. Good reminder.
I am.
Okay.
Okay, there's Tim.
Hi, Tim.
Nope. Muted.
Now you're unmuted.
Okay. All right, let's go ahead and start.
Okay.
So welcome everybody to Trust in a Time of Fear. We're really, really happy you've joined us. And this is a collaboration between me, I'm Julie Gleeson, my dear friend Kevin Wong, who's Dr. Kevin to us. He is our fabulous chiropractor, and Summer McCool, who is our wonderful hypnotherapist and healer. And we suddenly realized that we all have a piece of the same puzzle. So we thought we would introduce it to you because trust is available when everything's in balance. And when it's out of balance, it's much more difficult to trust. So that's what we're going to be talking about today. Let's see, let me do a quick introduction of myself, and then Kevin, you can go next, and then Summer, how about you?
Lovely.
Mm-hmm.
All right. So I have two companies. One is called The Art of Living Incorporated, and the other one is the Career Wisdom Institute. I am a wisdom coach and career designer. I help people find purpose and meaning in their lives, and help them understand the innate well-being that's built into the system of every human life. In fact, like all of life in general, but we're dealing with humans at the moment. And I've been doing what I'm doing for over 30 years. Kevin?
Hi, I'm Kevin. I have been a chiropractor now for 23 and a half years. And my focus of my practice is really on understanding how people's bodies move and getting to the root cause of what their issue is. It's not good enough that they tell me they're in pain. We want to know what could be the root cause of that pain from a physical level. And I realize that we have other aspects of health, which is what Julie and Summer are going to help me cover their aspects, but mine is really the physical part of it. And what I do a lot is look at the way the body moves. So it's the biomechanics. So for the last 23 and a half years, I've been doing that. I also teach a lot of classes for chiropractors. I travel the country and I teach seminars. And really the whole teaching aspect is a lot of fun. So I really am looking forward to this little call that we have together. And I'm hoping you'll get out of this a lot, because I'm planning on learning a lot from Julie and Summer today as well.
That's a byproduct of doing that.
Yeah. I'm Summer McCool. I've been working on the soul level of supporting my community and my family and friends through shamanic practices for over 20 years. In the last probably about 6 or 7 years, I've moved into more energy therapy like Reiki and energy boundaries, as well as hypnosis. And mostly what I find is that helping my clients come to an emotional resilience brings a piece of experience in life where we can have the circumstances and the stories that we do from our life experience and our journeys, but that we also have a lot of resources inside of us on a spiritual level, on an emotional level, that allows us to find peace with things such as sadness and grief and hardship and even anger, how each one of those are really healthy to have experience to those, just as much as love and joy and happiness are just as valuable and vital. So I help my clients find an ability to be present to their emotions without too much overwhelm, so that they can see the gift within it and then utilize that towards their highest good and to those around them, so that they can all thrive and have an experience of really being able to be in this life with a little bit more grace.
Fabulous. So while we're working with our meditation, I'd like all of us to be on mute, because I have 3 little puppies in my room and they get enthralled by the people in the computer. So they'll start talking back to us at some point. If they do while I'm unmuted, I apologize. It's very cute. We're gonna start with a 3-minute meditation. So raise your hand. Oh, you guys are not where I can see most of you, but those of you that I can see you, raise your hands if you have some sort of meditation practice. Okay, good. Good. So in this form of meditation, it's literally just 3 minutes. I've done this for years, where I've shown clients that the state of mind that you go into a 3-minute meditation with and the one that you come out with are so distinctly different that it's worth not putting off meditation until you have time. Like, just stop for a moment and do it for 3 minutes, and just close your eyes, put your feet flat on the floor. Don't hold on to something you could drop, and breathe for 3 minutes. I learned this when I was working with elementary school teachers who were wigged out by the time I got to be working with them. And this 3-minute meditation would allow them to be present to the work we were doing. So I now teach it to everybody, because I was so startled that 3 minutes was enough. So I'm going to time this on my trusty little phone. And there will be a chime that will go off when it's over. So just settle in and get relaxed, and you'll hear when to come back. Everybody ready?
So I was going to offer some guided imagery during this.
Oh, that's right. I forgot.
It's okay. In case sitting quietly isn't comfortable for you. So if you don't want to hear the guided meditation and in 3 minutes you just come back, you can put me on mute, like by turning down the volume of your computer. Otherwise, buckle up. Here we go.
All right. Great. Take a deep breath. Here we go. Okay.
So I invite you to take a deep breath and just allow yourself to arrive right here in this moment. And with each breath, breathing in peace and calm, and exhaling and releasing any tension. Just feeling what you're sitting on supporting you. Feeling the space around you, and feeling the space within you. And with each breath, breathing in peace and calm, and exhaling, releasing all the tension. And as you breathe and relax, just arriving right here and now in this moment, just noticing how all the things that you have yet to do can slip away, and they will be there for you to do when you arrive back into the real time. But until then, you can let them go, and you can rest and relax and just be. Finding how in this moment, just being, that you're okay. There are sensations in the body and emotions that float by, and even thoughts you may notice about all that you notice. And you can also just breathe and relax, allowing yourself to return back again to now, where you are safe, where you are good, and peace is at the core. Peace in knowing that you already are with everything you need. Each breath bringing in a deeper sense of relaxation. Each breath releasing all that no longer serves you. And you are enough. And when you're ready, taking a deep breath and opening your eyes.
Great.
Welcome back.
Welcome back. Can you tell the difference? Lovely, right? It's like a little oasis in the middle of crazy times. Thank you, Summer. That's beautiful. Yeah. So what are we going to do and why? So let me just tell you a little bit about that. Kevin and Summer and I are going to talk for maybe 20 minutes total at the beginning of this, and then we're going to open this up for questions and answers from you. And what we notice is that people are having a hard time with trust these days, either trusting themselves or trusting our bodies or trusting our friends or family or trusting the culture or the government. There's a lot of trust issues that are coming our way. And we know that there are cues that would get you back to where trust was a given. That trust is something that you don't have to really work hard at if your body and mind are balanced. Your body, mind, and spirit are balanced. And so that's what we're going to be talking about today. But the three of us don't very often give you techniques. What we're going to be doing is pointing in a particular direction. And Kevin's going to start from the physical body, and Summer's going to work from the spiritual and the emotional plane. And then I'm going to wrap it up with the innateness of what we're pointing to. And what we'd like you to leave with is how to tell when your body or your experience is trying to get your attention and what to do about that. Like who to call about that, where to start with that. So that's the point of the call. Any questions about that, or anything either one of you want to say about the kind of the beginning of it before we start with Kevin? Kevin's going to start because we figure the trunk of the tree, the body, probably the place to start.
I think the only thing I want to offer is our little legal caveat. We are recording this.
Oh yeah, thank you.
So if you are uncomfortable being on the recording, you can turn off your visual, and then you don't have to ask questions later if you're not interested. But just, I wanted to offer that to you, that it is being recorded.
Thank you. And the other thing is, we love it when people share about our work. But if you're going to tell a story, disguise it enough so that if somebody overheard you, nobody overhears anybody these days, but someday when they can overhear you, that they would not know who you were talking about. Okay. All right, good. So Dr. Wong, you are on.
Okay. All right. Well, again, it's nice to have all of you here with us. And Julie and I and Summer, we're just excited to be able to have a way of kind of expressing some of the things that we've been really noticing over the last actually few months, really, since a lot of this began. There's been a profound shift in the way people are feeling out there since shelter in place began, really almost 3 months ago. And what I've seen in my clinic is really a lot of the basis of what I'm going to share with you right now. It's really a kind of a summation of what I find people either paying attention or not paying attention to their body right now. So what's so interesting is you each have a place that you come from with where you learned how to listen or not listen to the physical cues that your body gives you. So some of you were raised in a household where your parents were really into making sure you had a lot of attention when there was something wrong with you. Some of you grew up in a household where maybe your parents said, oh, suck it up. That's not a big deal. Everybody's got problems, you know? So wherever you're coming from, that really helps to shape the adult that you are now and the attention that you give yourself. When I started in chiropractic, I was 25 years old, and I'm looking at 49 years old now. And I've had to learn for myself to listen to body cues for my own physical health. As long as I've known Julie and Summer, they've known that I've worked, for instance, on Saturdays. And COVID has killed that now. I'm now not working Saturdays because I'm trying to listen to my own body. And I need a couple days of rest that are in a row. So what I want to do is make this active for you, because whenever I teach, I always like to do little hands-on things. But I want you, as you're sitting there, to think of this analogy, because I want you to decide or help me understand, how do you listen to your own body? So let's use the analogy of you're sitting in your car right now, okay? Let's just say you're sitting in your car and you're driving somewhere. It doesn't necessarily have to be to work, because work already is going to elevate your stress level. So let's just say that you're kind of driving somewhere, and it's just maybe you're with your spouse and you guys are going to go someplace nice, all right? You're just driving, and all of a sudden that check engine light comes on in the car, all right? The check engine light comes on, and when you're driving, you see that light come on. It's a red light. And right then and there, I want to ask you, what is going through your mind when that check engine light comes on, all right? Now, we come from all ranges. A car is like our own human body. The way I'm asking you to think of this, often will reflect the way that you think about your own self, all right? So when that dashboard light comes on and it's red, all right? And you can remember the last time this probably came on in your car. How did it make you feel? What did it make you feel? Are you one of those people that will say, the light comes on. Then you start to worry. Oh my God, is my car gonna like stop right now? Is my engine gonna catch on fire? What's gonna happen? Or are you someone you're like, whatever. The light's on, it can be on for a long time. It's not that big of a deal to me, you know? Or are you somebody who's like, how annoying. I don't really care about the light. I'm just gonna reach back when I stop driving and I'm gonna unplug the actual wire that lights that light up because I just don't wanna see it anymore, all right? These are analogies and ways of understanding of how we will deal with our physical self at times. When you start feeling pain in your body, I always teach my patients, pain is your body's way of telling you that there is something wrong, all right? Are you going to do something about it right away? Are you going to ignore it for a little while and just hope that it goes away magically by itself? Or are you going to be somebody who just never does anything at all about it and just lives with it, all right? There's no judgment here. I'm just trying to interpret a lot of the way that we will look at signals from our body. By and large, I've seen with patients, many people have been taught to just kind of suck it up for a while. A lot of the people I deal with could be moms or dads or people that are caring for others, so that they always put other people in front of them. They don't think of themselves first, so they tend to ignore these things. And one of the things that's the most dangerous that I find is patients who have felt the pain signals for a while, but they just ignored them, thinking that they would either go away or figured, I'll be okay. It's not bad enough yet. You know that if we ignore that check engine light in our car, it'll probably end up as a serious problem if we don't get it taken care of, if we don't look at it. I'm trying to get you to identify how do you listen to the check engine light of your body, and will you listen to that, or will you wait and let it perhaps get a little bit worse, all right? Now, the reason I'm telling you that there's no judgment here is because I love everybody that comes in that needs help. The thing that's important for you is to know that when you have this symptom in your body, it could be a little bit of discomfort. It can be, you know, maybe you're not moving the right way, or maybe something is just, you can tell something's off. You got to learn to trust your intuition on this. Learn to trust your innate. The inside of your body. For chiropractors, innate is a very big part of our philosophy. It's the body's ability to sense issues and the body's ability to heal itself. If you've got an issue going on in your body in a physical sense, I'm always encouraging you and my patients to understand why that's there. And we teach you how to listen effectively. Have you ever heard that old wives' tale, or that old saying, a stitch in time will save 9, right? The same with your car, it's the same with your body. I see patients who will call me very, very soon after they feel symptoms, and I can usually get them better in a few visits, where I have some people that wait for a long time, and then it takes a long time to get them well because so many other processes have now overlapped in the body. We've got compensating things going on with muscles and bones and all kinds of stuff. And then that just creates a little bit more of an issue. So for me, where I fit in this whole puzzle with Summer and Julie is I want to make sure you listen to yourself, listen to what your body tells you, don't ignore it, because that will help you to figure out to get help sooner. Our physical body will always affect our emotional and our spiritual parts of our body as well. So you know that this is part of like 3-legged stool. So when your physical body is affecting the rest of you, it will detract or maybe even impair your ability to heal those other parts of your body. So that's why I love my part so well. And I find that a lot of my patients have issues in 2 primary locations of their body for their physical body. One are the feet and one are the shoulders. The feet have arches underneath them where when we're not supported well, our feet actually can create stress going up through the legs, through the hips, through the back. It creates a lot of physical pain for people in muscle tightness and joint problems, all right? I also find that the shoulders do a similar thing because there's so many joints in the shoulders. They really cause a lot of neck and middle and upper back problems for people. So where I am different And that's why I dovetail so well with working with Summer and Julie, is when patients come in, I don't want them to have the fear of me trying to use up all their visits from their insurance. It's all about getting to the cause, listening to the physical complaints that they have and looking back at their structure. So once we clear that out, it can help them with their emotional and their spiritual well-being as well. So hopefully I've gotten us started off, guys. So here, ladies, here we go. Your turn.
All right, beautiful. Thank you, Kevin. That was lovely.
It was.
So I get to work in the plane of spirituality and emotions. And a lot of the time, this is the arena where it's all invisible. But the way that I can help my clients get present to what their emotions are telling them is to first start recognize the pressure that they're experiencing. So sometimes it seems like this pressure is coming from outside of us, that somebody else is doing something or even expecting something of us. And other times this pressure is coming from inside of us, where there's certain things that we're afraid to experience or feel, and we're trying really hard to resist it or override it. And it usually has a symptom of some form of pressure. The other part is on a spiritual level, it looks as if we're living a life where we know we want something bigger, better, more, or on purpose, or aligned, or true, and then our life happens to look a different way. And we have a lot of valuable beliefs and identities to ensure that that life stays that way. But it's just uncomfortable enough for us to become curious about what else is available, what else is there, what are the options. And one way I know how to help my clients figure out how to answer those questions about how do I go from this life that I'm living to the one that is the dream, the fantasy, the longing. And I play a game called Warmer, Colder. So the way that game works is there's something somewhere in the space around you, and you have to find it, and you don't even know what it is. You don't know what you're looking for. But if you start moving in any direction at all, you get this signal that it's warmer or it's colder. And based on that signal, you know whether or not you want to turn left or right, if you want to do a U-turn, or if you want to just stop and go up or down, forwards or backwards. And we start to listen into that feeling that we get that's warmer. When this happens on an emotional level, what becomes available is that we can get present to all of the range of emotions we're all going to have. At some point, we're all going to get angry. At some point, we're all going to be sad. And at some point, we're all going to experience hope and joy, connection, and even vulnerability. Every one of us as humans are designed to feel every one of those at some point, some of which are more frequent than others. But there's no guarantee on how long they will last. There's no guarantee on how deep they will be. But there is a guarantee that every one of them will come and will go. They're all temporary. And so what this warmer or colder game offers us is an ability to be present to the experience that we're having neutrally. So that neutrality is that it's human to feel sad, and it's human to feel scared. And when there's a neutrality to that, it is safe to feel that as powerfully or easily or strongly or deeply as we feel it in the moment that we're feeling it, because there is a truth that it is not forever. It will pass. And so given that, when we are able to be present to these emotions as they come, we then have a greater sense of being able to know how to listen to that warmer, colder part of us that tells us to go left or right, that might even tell us to do a U-turn. Because sometimes in our lives, we get taught to live according to expectations or the constructs of our societies or the beliefs of our families. And we come to this belief that if we're good, according to those rules, then we're safe and lovable. And the truth is, even if we broke those rules, you're still safe and you're truly still lovable. And so giving yourself permission to really explore and experience those emotions, however deep they are, however long that they've been there, and whatever story it is that we may or may not have that creates them for us, you're still lovable and you're still safe right here. And this right here now moment is always here. It's this now moment where we always are. Our imaginations are so good at creating imaginary futures or remembering pasts, but those are both imagination. But in this moment right here, with all of your emotions and your spiritual signal of warmer or colder, you have everything you need to have a good life. I'll end with that. Julie?
Terrific, thank you. Coming back to the theme of trust, the infinitely askable and unanswerable question is, so what do we trust as human beings? What do we actually trust? And that's what's so profound about having both Kevin and Summer on the call with me, is that we're set up when we were born. There's this innate healing system inside of us. And we were taught this as children when we scrape our knee or cut our finger, that other than keeping it clean and not picking at it, that the body marshals its resources and goes to work to heal it. And so we know there's a healing system inside of our bodies physically that we can trust. And sometimes it needs a little help from Kevin or the energy work that Summer does to remind it to get out of its own way. But all that a practitioner of any sort is doing is getting the body aimed in the right direction towards its own innate healing and well-being. The thing we're never taught is that same healing system is built into our mental well-being. So how many of us on this call, again with a show of hands if you're not muted and no video, are hard on yourself from time to time, or there's a place where you're always hard on yourself? Yeah. So I'd like you to begin to think of that as picking on the scab of your mental well-being. It just makes it uglier, and so you might catch it as it's going on. One of my favorite pieces of homework to give my clients is to give yourself, I did it for 40 days, which could drive one crazy, but just give yourself a week and don't indulge the thought that there's something wrong with you. We'll get to others later. Well, let's deal with you first, right? What that begins to do is to have you get in touch with how powerful thought is. Because when you give up a strong thought like that and you begin to realize that you feel better by not having that thought, there's nothing you have to do when you notice that you're having that thought, by the way. You just, the mere act of noticing it takes all the power out of it. So what you've been doing when you're hard on yourself, this is my cute little tiny snow globe. My big one is up at my office, which is very sadly not having people in it at the moment. But when you shake this very hard, you can't see the funny little face very well inside. It's all sparkly and covered with kind of like rainy kind of stuff. But when you catch that thought, it begins to allow the snow of your thinking to settle. And what's inside of that is this happy place, this little smiley face or a wise place. And that's really how the system is built. That's why the 3-minute meditation works, is it calms the thinking down. And when the thinking is calm, there's this reservoir of intelligence, not intellect, but intelligence that guides you like a GPS system in the direction that you need to go. That is what there is to trust. So you don't have to trust the news. You don't have to trust social media. You don't have to trust your friends. You don't even have to trust your own noisy thinking. But if you know that you're calmed down and there's this urge to do something that comes from below your chin, and I always like to say, don't believe anything that happens above your chin, but anything that happens below your chin, you might want to pay attention to. So if it's your gut or your heart or something like that, that's the GPS system's messages to you. So those are the alerts that go on. And the other way to imagine the healing system, which delights me because I am the busiest person who doesn't like to do anything that's not easy, right? So I'm working all the time, but I don't believe in things being hard. So if you imagine a beach ball, when you push a beach ball down to the bottom of the body of water, the deeper it gets, the harder it is to keep it from popping back to the surface. And if you let go, it pops up to the surface on its own. That's the way our mental well-being and resilience is. So getting to that place of intelligence and wisdom that we trust is as simple as letting go of the beach ball. So that exercise that I recommended that you try for a week of giving up the thought that there's something wrong with you is like letting go of that particular part of the beach ball so that innately the beach ball pops to the surface. It's buoyant. You become more buoyant. Thought is designed to make us believe it's real. So for those of you like my friend Kevin, who love going to the movies, we are going to the movies every day of our life with our thinking. And so if we're afraid of something in our life, or we're anxious about something in our life, or we're loving something in our life, it's a movie that our thinking is playing for us. And then the thing that Kevin is better at than I am is that when Kevin goes to a scary movie, he knows it's a movie. I'm not so good about that. So I don't particularly care for scary movies because I get really scared, right? Now, in my own life, I'm probably one of the best that there is at knowing that my thinking isn't real. So I have more power with my thinking than I do with movies, which is hysterical to me. However, it's because I haven't worked on the movie part of it. So if you remember, you're designed to come back to balance buoyantly like a beach ball if you leave yourself alone. Your thinking is designed to play out as though it were real. And the trick is to catch it, not change it. If you change it, it's like wrestling with the devil. If you try and change it, it just makes it more and more real. So you just want to catch it. And the third thing is you can trust any emotional feeling that comes from below your chin. If it's in your head, it's an intellectual thing, and it's just part of the movie. So that's what we had to say. And now we'd like to open it up for questions. Since there are so few of you on the line, you can ask questions about your actual real life. Like, where are you having trouble with trust? And what do you find interesting about what the three of us have pointed to? And now's when you can unmute yourself.
I'm Veronica.
Hi, Veronica.
I have a question. So I have a lot of problems with the neutral that Summer was explaining. When it's a bad feeling or a bad emotion, I struggle too much to stay neutral. I need direction about this because if it's a bad feeling, like I cannot be sad and not feel sad that I'm sad.
That was great.
So I double up the sadness or the anger or the, whatever I am. I also double the happy. If I'm happy, I am happy and I'm happy. So it is super happy. But I cannot easily stay neutral. So any information on that would be great.
Summer.
I love your example of how you double up. And
Yeah.
it's the doubling up that we're kind of pointing at, more so with Julie's description, which is to be happy or to be sad is neutral in itself. It's not to say that the emotion isn't what it is, because it is. But it's that when we have thinking about the emotion, that doubling up piece of it is what's really actually unnecessary. You're either going to be happy or going to be sad. And you can double up out of habit, or that it looks interesting to do something about it. But just being happy or sad is the neutrality. It's that we don't have thinking about it. We don't have judgment about it, or we don't have wishing about it, that it stop or that it last. Does that make sense?
It does. However, how can I tell my mind in that specific case? I'm getting better at other not thinking, but in this case, like today, I'm sad, right? Today. So how do I make my mind not think about it? Because it pops up all the time. Oh, I'm sad. Oh, it's so sad that I'm sad. Why am I sad? And I want to fix it, and I hate it, but I can't stop it. I don't know what to do.
So let me try a metaphor with you, Veronica. Are you willing to try a metaphor?
Of course, I'm willing to try anything. I trust you.
Okay. So imagine that your emotions are like the weather. So I don't know what city you're in at the moment, but I'm in Walnut Creek and it's close to 100 degrees outside, right?
Okay.
And then last Saturday, we had a tropical thunderstorm, the likes of which I haven't seen in 20 years. It was just sort of right over Walnut Creek and Pleasant Hill and nobody else. And it was just sat there on top of us. It was the most amazing thing. And I don't have any control over that. That's just weather that comes and goes. But there's always a blue sky above that weather. And that's what I know is that thunderstorm, even though it lasted for lots longer than anybody ever said it was, and there was hail. It was actually really beautiful. We turned off the TV and watched the weather. It was just great. But I knew it would pass. And so I didn't have to get worried that the thunder, which was so close, was eventually going to hit one of my very tall trees and burn my house down. That thought was available to me, but I knew that the weather would pass. And so I didn't have to worry about awfulizing it going forward into the future, because I trusted that nothing ever stays the same. That's both the good news and the bad news, by the way. The good news is nothing stays the same. The bad news is nothing stays the same. And that's very true with our emotions. And when we're afraid to feel our emotions, we get into this thing of I'm always going to feel like this. And that's what's worrisome. So when your emotions start up and then you do the doubling up that you're doing, what you're doing is this about your emotions.
Yes.
So the thing to do is just catch yourself doing that. And in catching yourself doing that, it'll start to settle and you'll get a little more buoyant each time you notice it. That's all there is. And that is a miracle. That is so much more power than most people have. You will be delighted by the results if you can just not try and fix it. Just be there watching it go by and watching yourself thinking about it and wishing it weren't there.
Yeah.
And
that makes a lot of sense, because, and Summer will confirm this, I'm like trying to fix it all the time.
yeah,
like,
you're
I want to be happy. I want to be happy.
as though you're not. So this goes back to the trust part, right?
Mm-hmm.
If you trusted that you were designed for happiness, like there's always blue sky, there's always happiness. But for our thinking, we would experience it. But for the weather that goes by, we would experience it.
Mm-hmm.
If you trusted that, you wouldn't be as concerned when the sad shows up.
Right.
Right? It's because we think we have to work hard to be happy that we get all out of sorts and out of balance. And then that's what throws our body out of balance, and that's what throws our mind out of balance, and now we're a mess. Now you need all three of us.
So it is definitely trust what I lack.
Yes, that's why we call this trust in a fear of
Time of fear.
time of fear.
How fitting. Thank you for inviting me, Summer.
Thank you
This
for
is
coming,
super
Veronica.
exciting. I love it. Thank you.
Thank you for your question. It's a really important question, Veronica. It's the thing that ties people up in knots, and your bravery in asking the question was lovely.
Thank you.
Yeah. So who else? We have lots of time. So who else?
We're literally knocking them dead.
Yes, you are.
Literally, it's very good.
I've heard some of the analogies and I always like them because I like the visualization. As you can see, my home office is my breakfast room. Family, picture city, they're all around me. The beach ball, that's a good one. The weather going through is a good one. I do, Kevin, like your check engine light. And it's so true because a couple weeks ago when we had our rain, we had an issue with my car driving it, being at a stop, making a very tight right turn, going up a steep hill in the rain on the bots dots and a hydroplaned. And the car tried to do the traction adjust and it wobbled and wobbled and wobbled several times. And so the car didn't go anywhere for a week. Then it had to be towed to the dealership in the superheat. And so they couldn't spend it the first 2 days looking at it because it was too hot in the shop. And they basically determined that it was just a multiple cluster F, that it was raining and it was tight and there was bots dots and we were trying to control the traction control that was trying to do its thing. And so, you know, it was all fine and good. But needless to say, the light was going on, the car was doing weird things, and we really paid attention. But you're right, Kevin. There are times where I've said, nah, I don't want to go in. Other times I said, I have to go see Kevin.
Well, it's normal for everybody. And Veronica, I wanted to bring up something about what you just said. And I think Scott chimed in on you on the chat. And that is, the fact that you've said that, it's something that we've all felt. I have gone to Julie for this. I have talked to Summer about aspects of this. That is why I feel so strongly and passionately about working with these two, because they've helped me understand some of these things. I'm very type A. I'm the eldest son of a Chinese family. So it's all about, you know, what more can I achieve? What more can I do? How can I push myself further? They've had to help me to realize that sometimes or often you don't really need to be doing that. It's actually making you crazier. So for me, getting in touch with my innate, I've needed their help to figure out, to tap into my emotional side, my spiritual side, to understand that, yes, I'm okay what I'm doing. In fact, I need to start thinking a little bit more about how I am for my physical side as well. So I don't spend all my time taking care of everybody else, but not me. So that's where I go back to when I was telling some of you in the beginning that, you know, for the first time in 23.5 years, I'm not working Saturdays anymore, because that's something I'm trying to do for myself now, to get myself back in touch with my innate so that I stay healthy, like we're trying to help all of you be healthy as well. So I think it's great that you brought that up. And I hope that when you think about what Julie said, it will make sense for you, because it will make it easier for you the next time you experience something like this, okay? So it's really, really fun to just kind of get Julianne Summers' opinions on this, because they have the experience to help us go through and weather the storm, so to speak, and get us to the next stage.
Well, the thing that you point out, Nancy and Kevin, is that each one of us is better with the check engine light in a certain area. So Kevin, you're really good with bodies and check engine lights, right? So if you hurt at all, you're immediately adjusting and getting back into balance. You don't ever like just wait, right? Yeah.
I've seen it too many times when people wait. Yes. See what happens.
Yeah. And I'm that way about thought. Like I never indulge a thought that makes my body tense up. I just don't do it. I know it's a illusion. I know it's a movie. I know it's 3D and it's HD and all of that, but it's still just a movie. And Summer is much more aware of the check engine light emotionally and with trauma, that in that spiritual plane than the two of us are. And so that's why we team up as a sort of a healthcare chain, right? But wherever you start learning to pay attention to the check engine light, wherever you're the best at it, start there. And then start considering someplace else, and then someplace else. And then now all of a sudden you're saying, oh, wait, I should never ignore any check engine light. Now you're in the right game, but go slow. Give yourself practice room. This takes some practice.
Yes,
lifetime.
definitely be kind to yourself. Don't be so hard on yourself with it too, because
Remember the homework?
Yeah, it's not a race. It's not, there's no prize at the end except for well, I guess maybe a little bit of happiness, but there's no punishment for not getting there by a certain, just take it easy and then ask us for opinions and help. That's always something we're available for too.
I think there's an element worth exploring in this check engine light concept, is that we might be astute on the physical level or the emotional level or the thinking level, where in one space we're good and the other space we're not so good. Have a little compassion for yourself.
Yeah.
That we weren't actually taught this from the beginning. And so now we're having to piece it together. And so there's a lot of innocence in how we're experts in some places and not so much in others. And that's just part of being human. We're going to have all of the places where we are stellar and it's easy, and then other places like, oh, I just hate that subject. I don't want to have to do that right now. I got to figure that out. That looks hard. I don't like it. And that's just life. So a little compassion goes a long, long way when it comes to recognizing the places where it's easy and fun and the places where it's just not so much. But the beautiful thing is, given our capacity to have that innate resilience, that innate healing ability, is that it's a hologram. Where our body knows how to heal a paper cut if we leave it alone is just as true with every other circumstance, whether it's an emotion or a belief or a thought. If we just leave it alone, then it actually has its own ability to heal itself. Sometimes healing requires the presence of another, because it's a little bit bigger than what we have in our sense of ourselves to come present to. And this is where Kevin or Julie or I come and play, where we have that ability to be present with you in the space that you're in the thinking you're in, or even in the body that you're in, to bring it back to a place where it actually feels good to be you again. But
Well,
innocence, we're all innocent in this thing, life. And compassion, really, it's worth it. It's good.
Yeah, that's beautiful. Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you.
And it's true, we have compassion for a lot of people. We forget about ourselves, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Compassion for ourselves.
Yeah, it's a little like this. A friend of mine who's also a 3 principles practitioner, which is the kind of work that I do, says that it's like walking down the street and having a very inebriated person start yelling at you and saying like slurs at you, and you have 3 choices. One is to stop and engage with them and tell him how wrong he is, and the second is to I just listen very deeply and make sure that you understand the person completely. And the third is to keep walking. And if you keep walking, the person eventually loses interest in you because you're not paying any attention. And our thinking is the same way. So if you're wrestling with an inebriated person, it's like a fool's journey. You're going to get dusty and dirty and bump your head and maybe worse. But if you keep walking, even if they are following you, the thought is following you and yelling at you, eventually it'll get tired of yelling. And you'll be walking down a street all by yourself. Or as he used to say, I had this committee in my head judging me all the time, and I suddenly realized I could leave the committee. I didn't have to go to the meeting. So they're still in their meeting, but I didn't have to go. Right?
Well, having compassion for yourself falls under that same umbrella of taking care of yourself.
Mm.
And many of us in life have put us at the bottom of the list. They
Yeah.
have to be it's like in the airplane, they talk about when the oxygen masks come down, you're supposed to put yours on first and then help everybody else.
Yeah. It's just very much like that.
Thank you for that image of an inebriated person. Because now I understand more of my brain. It's like one of those market guys that buys and sells stock.
Yeah.
But my brain, my mind,
Yeah.
and inebriated with that kind of neurosis. Now I have an image and I think I can deal with that better.
Good. Good. Besides which, it'll make you laugh every time, right?
Exactly.
Those are the best kinds because you remember them because they make us laugh. You know, that warm feeling that makes us laugh is really where the power comes from. It's like insight based. We don't forget the laughter ever. So those are the best kinds of insights to have. Good job.
That's true. I just need a name now. I'll think about it.
Yeah, exactly. So did anybody else think of anything they'd like to ask us about or mention?
I have something that, not necessarily a question, but something that I've noticed, certainly in the last several months. I worked past tense as a massage therapist in habit for a long time. And for a good period of time as we were in this lockdown, I felt like I should be doing more and kind of struggling to push myself to accomplish things. And then I just reached a point where I just kind of decided to give myself grace. And if I wasn't feeling productive, I just wasn't going to get much done. And if I was inspired to tune in and learn things, I would do that. And if I needed to take some time out. And I've really recognized since that turning point how much more in the flow I am and how much better I feel and how much better I'm sleeping. And so just to your point of like making that choice to go back to trust instead of like trying to push through is just made such an enormous difference.
That is wonderful. And that takes, I mean, that may be the beauty of this pandemic is that the shelter in place has forced us to be with ourselves long enough to learn something like that. Good job. Really, really good job. And that is you paying attention to a check engine light that's probably been blinking for quite a while.
So, thank you.
Yeah.
I went through that process about a year ago because I left my corporate job to just be a hypnotherapist. And that meant that I had 60 hours out of the week that I had nothing to do with because it was filled with corporate life. And it was a lesson in learning that I'm not a doer and I'm really good at doing. I'm like Kevin, a type A, hardcore, let's get stuff done. And I had to learn how to be a beer. And it's been so beautiful learning how to be without the doing and recognizing that even if I don't do, the being is more than enough. That's like the beauty of life is the being. And I'm so excited for you that's you've arrived to yourself, that's what's available. It's like the essence of it.
And the thing I love, Susie, in your sharing is I could hear where you could see that there were days where there was nothing to do. And then there were days where you were inspired and there was something to do, right? So if you begin to get curious about that, you'll begin to notice that insight and inspiration come with action attached to them. Good ideas often don't. So this is my whole problem with goal setting is unless it comes from insight or inspiration, you can make this whole wonderful list of what there is to do and none of it will happen because there was no new thing to explore that gets you up out of your chair or your bed or your couch, right? So in your sharing, you did it beautifully where I could tell the different states. Like some days there's no inspiration at all. I'm not called to do anything, so I'm not going to do anything. That's trust. And when you trust that, everything comes back into balance. And now you've got the energy, the health and well-being, the lack of pain, the emotional intelligence to do what's yours to do.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you for pointing that out.
Yeah.
That's really, really helpful.
Yeah, good. It also feels terrific. Yeah. Anybody else? Okay. Kevin or Summer, anything else you'd like to add?
No, I really like to hear what everybody was saying. Susie, good job chiming in. It's you know, sometimes like the reason we wait a little bit is maybe one of you will get brave enough near the end and just, okay, I want to say something really quick. So I really enjoyed the fact that you're a massage therapist and you've had that history. You know how easily it is to burn out as a massage therapist, especially when you first get your license. You're out there, you're working, you're like, I'm gonna do this. And you know, one day they're like, man, I am so tired. This was not in the brochure. How tired I was gonna be doing 5 massages in one day. I mean, I don't think it was there. So, you know, for you to basically give into it and just say, hey, you know what, I'm gonna take this as it comes and not make myself real stressed about it. That's where we eventually all need to get to really make it in that next phase of what we're going to be doing, you know. So I think it's great that you shared that. Veronica, I enjoyed hearing more about you. So and Scott, I know you were chiming in on the chat, so getting a window into who you are as well. So I just appreciate all of you just sharing and you know, we put ourselves out there, we make ourselves vulnerable when we share, but that's when we learn the most about ourselves. And when you're willing to put yourself out there, that's where you can grow the most. So I really had fun with this. So thank you.
Yeah. Summer, anything for you?
I was just so honored and grateful to be here with all of you and to share in this space where we can start to look into those pockets inside of us where we already know that we have what we need to do this thing called life. And that by coming together and talking about it and exploring the ways in which we do it or don't do it, with or without grace, that it's we're not alone in this journey, and that we do have one another in community and connection, and that we're all on this this road together. There's a cartoon that Julie gave me one time, and you know, we're all just walking each other home. And it's just so true that life would not be worth it if it weren't to have you in it with me. It's just lovely. Thank you.
Thank you, guys.
Thank you.
I guess with more, because this is good information and sometimes the questions don't pop up immediately.
Yeah.
You have to internalize and ponder and then you realize some things and then questions come, right?
Yes.
But thank you, because this is a very good start. I appreciate it.
And we'll send you our contact information. We're open for texts and emails and short phone calls, that sort of thing. How many of you have noticed that now at this point in the call, there's a warm kind of connected feeling on this call, right? Yeah, that's what we're after. So that's actually resilience. That's room temperature. That's how human beings are designed to feel. And that's a trustworthy feeling. When you feel like that, now you have what I love to call kinship. And from kinship, you can work out anything, even if you have different perspectives. Kevin and Summer and I have very different perspectives about how to approach balance and resilience. And yet we have known each other long enough that we're kinfolk with each other. And that's what we offer to our clients, is building community and building kinship. So you're now part of our people. That is helpful to know. That's really what's missing when we're all separated in our homes with all this nonsense and wildness going on around us. It's change. It's all too much change at once for a lot of us. That's why many of us are so tired. I took a 2-hour nap myself yesterday, so I'm with you, Susie. I had a cancellation. My twin sister calls that a psychic bump, and I said, "Great, I'm taking a nap." But what you want to look for is working with people that you feel in community with. That's how you choose your well-being practitioners, is people that you feel connected to that way, because trust is natural in that state. So how do you trust in a time of fear? By belonging in community with people who know this particular direction to look and trust you to be able to look there as well.
Yeah, what we were trying to set up with this is to make sure those of you that were on the call could feel like, you know, this is really good information. We're not out to try to get something from you. We want to help you feel comfortable and feel good about what's going on now. So if you would need to talk to Julie or Summer or me for a few minutes and talk to us about something that came up or comes up, please just give us a call. It's not a big deal. We're not after anything here except making that connection with you so you can know that you're not alone, and that someday we will be able to actually get in front of each other again, and we'll meet in person. But it's just one of those things where, you know, the three of us feel this way. And, you know, and you guys can see Nancy on this call too. Nancy has been a friend of ours for years. So, you know, yeah, she's part of our kin group as well. But, you know, we're so happy that you decided to join us. I know it's in the middle of the afternoon, so we appreciate what you went through to give up something to listen to us. So thanks again.
So I have a quote I'd like to close with. My teacher, mentor, friend when he was alive, friend even now that he's not alive, Sydney Banks, often said, annoyingly often said, don't listen to my words, listen for a feeling.
Aww.
Yeah.
Good.
So the noise of the, Summer was sharing before we all started this formally, that the peanuts, adults, the words are less important than the feeling from which they're said. That's what we're pointing to, is that's what you can trust, is when someone doesn't have that feeling and you automatically withdraw and you're a little anxious, trust that. If you have that feeling with someone you don't know, but you want to lean in, trust that. If there's a direction that you want to go with your life or your career and it feels like that, trust that. If it doesn't feel like that, step back. Listen for the feeling.
Okay.
Good.
Wonderful.
Thank you
Thank
so
you,
much.
everybody.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Have a good evening, everybody.
All right.
Thank you.
Thank
Yeah.
you.
I love the little claps. Thank you, Veronica. It's so cute. Thank you, Christine. Okay.